evolution of the use of social media has come with its fair share of troubles, especially when we're talking about consenting age and responsible use of social media. In today's debate, we have Mpesa Foundation Academy versus Mary Leakey Girls, and the motion of the day is access to social media should be limited to persons of legally responsible age. I repeat the motion again. Access to social media should be limited to persons of legally responsible age. Team proposition, you have 3 minutes of stage.
Social media has a lot of damaging effects on the society. This is why I strongly propose the motion that states that social media access should be limited to people of legally responsible age. Social media is an internet-based form of communication and interactions among people in which they share, create, and exchange information and ideas. From the COPPA study, which is Children's Online Protection and Privacy Act, it states that social media access is allowed to persons over the age of 13 years and above. And these social media platforms include TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, and etc. I'm sure most of you have created accounts on Google. When creating an account on Google, it mostly asks for your age and private information. So where it asks for your age, most people tend to lie about their age so that they may be able to acquire information that is not even of their age. Like, for instance, I've been scrolling through social media, it's been wasting my time, and I've been looking at pornographic photos, yet I'm only 10 years old, and this is for persons above the age of 16 years. Therefore, yet I'm trying to fit in and act like my fellow peers. This may lead to anxiety and depression when I start feeling like I don't fit in and I don't belong in the group. It can even it may result to a long-term mental effect known as body dysmorphic disorder. Body dysmorphic disorder is a condition that makes one get the defects of appearance, in which in turn makes them feel embarrassed and ashamed of who they are. When also trying to fit into my peer groups and act like my fellow peers, I may find LGBTQ in social media. I'll try my very best to be like the others. So what will I do instead? I'll act as a lesbian and I'll become a lesbian so that I may feel like I belong here. Therefore, on that point strongly proposes that social media should be limited. Most people talk about their online friends and how they met their spouses, but yet we don't consider their intentions towards us. For instance, you say that I have a pet friend, I have an online friend in the social media, but yet they don't get their intentions that they may end up manipulating you in order to obtain your identity and privacy. There's a lot of hate speech and negativity in social media. For instance, someone has posted a captivating video or a viral video. Most people will on the comment section, most people may harass you and cause cyberbullying, and even use vulgar language, which in turn is hate speech. Thank you.
Esteemed team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Juliet Wangari, and I'll be opposing the motion that states that access to social media should be limited to persons of legally responsible age. They defined the motion. They defined the terms, but I will redefine the terms for you. Legally responsible age is the age a person is considered an adult and is legally responsible of their actions and their decisions. Social media is a broad category of communication media which occasion or enable social interaction among groups of people, whether known to each other or not, whether geographically dispersed or not. Limited means restricted in amount, and access is the opportunity to approach or obtain. You said that social media helps you to see Georgina's pornographic content. I want to tell you, this is about your morals and your values. This is not about social media. So stop blaming social media where it's not supposed to be. That's how your parents showed you, and that's because of lack of the values you have. It's not about social media, I mean. You say that social media brings effect to people it brings socialization. It makes you to have effects. Maybe people didn't comment on your stuff and you say that it brings you effects. I want to tell you, when you are in social media, you are able to socialize with people and you are able to be open-minded. You are able to learn about their culture, and you are also able to be open-minded about other diverse cultures in the world. So stop blaming social media. Social media has positives and negatives. You view what you want in social media. So when you view something wrong, stop blaming social media. Social media is there to cater for the negatives and for the positives. So if you want to watch the pornographic content, it's up to you and it's up to your decisions. So if you don't have the decision making, it's not about the social media, it's about the values you hold and what you believe in. Social media isn't about getting spouses only. I mean, people have learned in social media. We just don't go to social media to look for spouses or people to live with. We have other things that you can do in social media. You can learn, you can do business in social media, you can do anything. You can even learn from other people of your age in social media. Social media when social media is limited to young people, it will lead to abuse of this opportunity once they reach the legally responsible age. In Kenya, the legally responsible age is 18, which is also accepted in USA, which means that when you get 18, for now, maybe you are not allowed to go to Instagram, you're not allowed to go to Facebook, TikTok, but you'll wait for that day you reach 18, where you will now use that social media to the fullest. You will not even listen to anything because you know that now I have the opportunity to abuse the social media. So why just limit the young people to use social media right now, and you're hiding the painful truth that is there in social media? You need to learn that social media has goods and bads. So even if you are limited right now, you'll once come to use social media. So there is no advantage of hiding the social media, and you'll still have it. This is imposing a lot of problems to the young people. Thank you.
Second speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
It is I, Brilliant Sayanet, from the Leakey Girls High School, here to strongly propose the motion that states access to social media should be limited to persons of legally responsible age. The point that she says about Georgina's leaked pornographic videos, she didn't really mean that you go to social media and find them. That is why social media should be limited, so that for children her age, it should be limited for her so that she could not be exposed to pornographic sites. Wow, you said that your parents tell you about the pornographic site. How can a good parent, lead their children into pornographic sites? Please understand your point. On to my first point. A study was done in the USA, and MRI found significant differences in the brains of kids addicted to social media platforms. This shows that constant social media scrolling can affect the brain chemistry of children. Therefore, social media should be limited, since their addiction can make them introverts. And of course, children need to interact with other people. On to my second point. According to a 2015 Common Sense Media study, an estimated 20% of children between the ages of 8 and 12 years old are using social media without their parents' approval. The 20% of kids that are using the social media platforms without their parents' approval have a high risk of exposure to pornographic sites, since their gadgets are not on parent control. As for real, Judge Minor, how will you feel if your 6-year-old daughter was exposed to pornographic sites? As a father, how will you feel? I will leave that unto you until further notice. As I was saying, the platforms will not be able to filter the amount of information filtered and shared to them. Therefore, these children can easily be exposed to pornographic sites. The same study shows that kids are spending 6 hours a day on social media platforms. Like, for real, children obviously go to school. They have their assignments, and they also have to interact with other people for their own boosting of their self-esteem. As for children, as they interact with other people, that makes them feel wanted and loved. But through social media, how will you interact with a person, like a real life person? Because you might be interacting with somebody through social media, but you don't know if they are really, they really want to talk to you. It's just because they found you on social media and wow, I am interested in talking with this guy. Those are my points, and I will leave the next to my third speaker. Thank you.
Second speaker, Team Opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Access to social media should be limited to persons of legally responsible age. My name is Whitney Albright Akinyi, and I'm here to oppose the motion that says, one, I'll start with my rebuttals. Okay, you're talking about pornographic content, Virginia's pornographic content, and you're saying that we should limit social media, access to social media to persons of legally responsible age because most of them are vulnerable to receiving this. Let me tell you, pornographic content is in social media, but decision making is a skill that one learns when they use social media. It is upon your morals as an individual to know that accessing pornographic content is not right for you. You cannot blame it on Instagram, you cannot blame it on TikTok, you cannot blame it on any other social media platform because of your irresponsibility and your lack of morals. You also say that finding the LGBTQ is an example of the things that you learn from social media. Mark you, LGBTQ is one of the 21st century issues that you're having in the world. Getting access to social media will give you a chance to learn about the things that are happening in the world. What will this in turn do to you? It will make you open-minded. It will make you be able to know that there are things that are in the world. It will make you have the information of things like racism, climate change, LGBTQ, and this will be able to help you be more open-minded. So, you also talked about managing hate speech and the psychological effect it has to other people. Remember, managing hate speech is a skill that people need to learn. So, let's take for an instance, when you limit the access of social media to people of legally responsible age, an example is since I am 16 right now, I am not legal in the government of Kenya. So the government can decide to say, since Whitney is 16, Whitney cannot access TikTok, Whitney cannot access Instagram, Whitney cannot access any other social media platform, or Whitney can only access such. How is it going to affect me? It is going to negatively affect my social life because I am used to interacting with people. I am used to learning about other things online. Addiction. Yes, as you mentioned it is one of the negative effects of social media. Well, don't you know that there is this application in China that allows people, young people, to use 40 minutes of TikTok, that is Douyin, their TikTok version. So what if, instead of limiting the access of people to social media because they're not of legally responsible age, what if we came up with solutions like using Douyin for China? This will help us be more innovative to things that are open to our world. Filtering information online is capable. Filtering information online, it is a skill, and this is able to happen by using an application like Sophos. Let me tell you what Sophos does. Sophos restricts people from using certain apps, and this will help us manage the things that people are accessing online. So I don't see the need of you limiting access to social media because people are not of responsible age. I rest my case.
Both Team Proposition and Team Opposition have been asked their questions. And Team Proposition, third speaker, you have 3 minutes.
I am the one and only Teresia Ongoi from the mighty Mary Leakey Girls High School, here to propose the motion that states access to social media should be limited to persons of legally responsible age. So, to answer your question, first of all, the parents already told their children some things you're not supposed to do using my phone. As my second speaker said, according to the 2015 Common Sense Media Study, an estimated 20% of kids use social media without their parents' approval, which means the parents didn't approve of them using social media, but they use it without the the parents' approval. Okay, have I answered your question? Thank you. First, you talked about decision making. My friend, how do you expect a 10-year-old to make decisions? How do you expect a 10-year-old to know how to make decisions in the first place? Know your point. According to the Children's Online Protection and Privacy Act, they didn't say 16. We said that the legally responsible age for the access of social media is 13 and above. Okay? Thank you. My first point, kids' brains are highly sensitive to criticism. This is evident on how you relate with a kid when she's old, and it will be determined with how you related with her when she was a child. There's that one uncle who you have never gotten along with since you have never been good friends since you are small, right? Even according to Dr. Murphy, most social media platforms distort children's sense of selves and makes them not be able to deal with criticism even as adults. On to my second point, catfishing. Predators who manipulate them in order to get identities and privacies. Into their identity and privacy. According to the study done by UK's National Crime Agency, young people may have the high risk of being victims of the catfishers. Why? Because of their limited life experience and social skills. Do you really want your child to be facing such kind of thing while at a young age? I don't think so. So if you are trying to tell us to allow our children to be in social media, first of all, if that child has a talent, that criticism will create a boundary. If there is a child who made a singing video in TikTok, and that child, the moment that child faces criticism, that child will be told to sing and remember the kind of criticism she was given while she was young. And believe me, that before that child sings, it will take a lot of work. Why? Because she was already criticized while she was young and she remembers it. Please, I don't want my child to go through such things as a young person. I first want her to grow up so that she can be able to develop the right decision-making skills. Thank you.
Team opposition, third speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, my worthy opponents, for giving us your points. Now, you want to take me back to class. The third opposer, you talked about how do we expect a 10-year-old child to make decisions. I'm here to tell you that decision-making does not depend on age. I predicted that you are going to talk about cyberbullying. You talk about limited life experience, social skills. Go and teach your kids how to manage their emotions, because you also talked about criticisms. There is something called emotional management. I think you can refer to the dictionary. The same thing to the person who asked the question. You asked me to prove that minors are actually able to make responsible decisions. I will answer you by asking you a question. Does decision making have anything to do with age? Does it? If it does, then I don't know. The first speaker talked about social media having damaging effects on society. Let me tell you, social media is not the dark monster as you paint it. Social media has more to offer than just pornography. There are educational sites. Let me give you an instance of YouTube, as you claimed. YouTube can be used for educational purposes. Maybe the social media sites that you access do not offer educational content. Please visit YouTube. And then you also talked about anxiety, depression, and long-term mental illnesses. There are people called counselors. You can think about visiting one. And then there is also the issue of principles. The first speaker talked about trying to fit in. You talked about LGBTQ. I mean, don't you have values? that guide you? Do you just do things because other people are doing it? We have to work on our thinking skills, critical thinking skills. And then you also talk about hate speech. Hate speech is not subjected to age too. Anybody can get hate speech. One thing that we should focus on is teaching our children or our teenagers how to process the hate speech. Instead of them going and committing suicide, they can instead visit a counselor. And then my last point is that we can just ensure that our teenagers are responsible online, and we advocate for accountability and responsible citizenship. I rest my case.
We'll be taking our reply speeches. Team Proposition, you have 1 minute.
I can't believe you're so ruthless. You keep on saying that, oh, this does not affect age. This cannot be determined by age. How ruthless are you to send a below 13-year to a counselor? On to my third point, the presence of strangers who may be there to groom your children. In the year 2015, Peter Gerald, who was arrested in the Philippines for multiple counts of child abuse and trafficking. His crimes included production of and distribution of videos showing the torture, rape, and murder of children. And these videos were being promoted with social media. My friend, that is why I call you ruthless. How can you accept a child to go through such a thing? I don't want my child to go through this. That is why it pains me. Get me, please. My dear friends, it really hurts. It really hurts. So, the predators, the social predators, he's only an example. Others use it for cults, others use it for terrorism, as in social media, actually, those people use fake accounts, right? They use fake accounts. They capture your children since you have allowed your child to use social media. And you keep on saying teenagers. Haven't you? My first proposer, Elizabeth Wangari, said that the COPPA said the age that is responsible for the access of social media is below 13. 13, teenagers. Why do you keep on using teenagers as an example? Are you understanding? I just hope you are in the same page, by the way. So, I am speaking of this. I know there are parents here, right? And I know you wouldn't want your child to be exposed to such things. So please, state your facts right. And for Pete's sake, love your children. Thank you.
Can we get the reply speech from Team Opposition?
Funny how you come here, blame social media for your ignorance. Wow. Listen, you are going to limit me from accessing social platforms only because some of you were not responsible enough, or you are so ignorant to understand that there are things that cannot happen on social media. Come on. Let me tell you, there are people who have used social media from when they were 7 and they have managed to grow up as adults who are responsible. You guys are coming here to tell us that you owe pornography. Let me tell you, access to pornography, as I said, it is an example of you being immoral. It is an example of you not having values. It is an example of you blaming other things for your irresponsibility. You're talking about LGBTQ. Let me tell you, it is a 21st century issue. If you don't want to understand that it is in the world, come on, get out of the world. We are telling you things like, instead of limiting access to social media and limiting to people of responsible age, why don't we be more innovative? Come on, use your brains. Use our brains more enough to come up with applications and use things like softwares that will manage us, that will help us to manage the content that people are using online. If you use softwares, as I said, the information that will be given to teenagers or to people out in the world will be manageable. What if we had applications like doing in China that is able to manage the time that people use? This application manages 40 minutes of a child's time online. If we have that, maybe we'll be dealing with issues of addiction, we'll be dealing with issues of cyberbullying. You guys are making really worthless accusations. Thank you.
My question to the proposition was, or even to both teams, what does it mean for us here as legally responsible age? And let me start with Mary Leakey, who Elizabeth came and said it's for 16 years and above. And then Teresia came and rebutted and said, no, we meant 13 and above. So there was a contradiction from the entire team, and we took note of that. In terms of definition of terms, that was okay. But I felt like there was a veering off of this motion to just matters pornography, yet social media is so wide and large. There's a lot of things that happen there, education material, and I think it was towards the end that I started hearing things like cyberbullying coming up and the likes. So the question is, why is it that we almost did half the motion in justice by just venturing off to just those particular areas that you pointed out? So cyberbullying, bringing it with examples, I think you brought that in, Elizabeth. Brilliant. Yes, is it Brilliant? That's your name, right? Brilliant. Yes. I like the examples you gave, for example, addictions to social media and the likes, but I would say your cross-examination was fair. Teresia, good rebuttals, but first speaker, that's the point I pointed out of the understanding of what legal age is. You needed to have one unison way of speaking. Mpesa, very passionate debaters as well. I had a question to you. You're saying let's not limit this. Then the best way in any debate is to give proper examples of young people who are not in those particular categories that you're talking about legally and are doing well in social media. It could be in education material, it could be even earning an income, it could be even in what they're doing themselves. Are there any? Because I didn't hear one at all that came out, you know. Yet we have young people, as young as about, I don't know, one of the highest earning YouTubers is a young boy, I think he's 9 years old, because they review toys. I don't know, Ryan, right? You guys even know? Yeah. I mean, these people know them. Well, how comes you guys are the ones who are supposed to inform us? But hello, we didn't hear these things coming out. What I must say is this: was this motion justifiably debated? I must say there was more left to be desired from both ends, but we'll wait for the results.
Okay, thank you so much. That is all from our judges. And right now we'll move straight ahead to the results. The judges have awarded Mary Leakey Jr. with 64.9%. A round of applause for Mary Leakey. And the judges have awarded Mpesa Foundation with 65.5%. A round of applause for Mpesa. And the winners of this debate are Mpesa Foundation. And until next time, it is goodbye from us here at the Debate Circle. Again, remember to check our socials every week at the Debate Circle on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Instagram. Goodbye from us.